Hey guys, it's Malthor here once again, and I recently made the jump into Voltaxic, as I said I would, on my physical tornado shot and lightning arrow sort of based Deadeye, and it's been going pretty damn good. So as I've mentioned before, Voltaxic's still a really good build, and quite cheap to build for the what it is essentially. It's not quite as endgame or effective as it used to be, thanks to the nerf. Scaling poison's a lot harder than it ever used to be. So to get to the uber levels or the real sort of endgame levels like the tier 16s, which I haven't yet hit, but I'm imagining I will liken it to something like an Uber at Zero. You're going to need a 6 link, you're probably going to need some really solid gear to be able to hit that same sort of single target that we used to hit with a Voltaxic build. That's without Lightning Arrow Frostwall, of course. As I said though, for map clearing and just general build viability for maps, and fun playstyle, whatever. Voltaxic's still been going really good, and it still clears quite well, and if you play it well enough and build it well enough, it can be rather safe too. As you may have seen with the previous character, you can hit around 5.5k life and make it fairly safe, fairly fast for mapping. The goal was to get into tier 16s and hit Shaper. I'm not sure that's going to happen anymore with this build, but I'll show you what it took to make, and then give you a few boss highlights and show you some new maps and what I've learnt from running them, and what the boss fights more or less entail. The character was the Fizz Tornado Shot, Puncture, and Deadeye using Fizz damage, and the passives haven't really changed. You're still going for Ricochet and you're still going for Endless Munitions, because those are what benefit you most as Voltaxic. So that was the original plan, and that's what we eventually spec'd into. This is what the tree currently looks like, and it is the one that pretty much exactly the one that I have linked or shared. Of course, you always customize to your own benefits and tastes. So originally we are this Fizzboy build, and that's the tree that I shared with you guys, and that's what it looks like. And we were respecting to Voltaxic, which took about 20 regrets, something like that, so it wasn't very hard, just did most of my respec quests, and actually I think I did not go for this anymore. No wait, that's still fine on Voltaxic. So yeah, you go for this, even though it's not terribly efficient, because you get a static electricity jewel right here, and that gives you an additional 1 to 82 lightning damage, which is actually quite a lot in the grand scheme of things. Overall, yeah, build's pretty much the same as Voltaxic always was. Over here we grab a life leech node to connect to a life and mana leech node, so it's 0.8% leech, but most of your leech is still going to come from the Atziri flask. Grabbed a couple of nodes over here as well for flasks and mana. That makes just spamming a bit more comfortable. So it's a Voltaxic, running 2 5 links right now. Belly of the Beast I think is still the best bet because it helps you fill out your life a lot. Face breakers are a really big deal for damage once you start scaling crit comfortably enough. Try and get wed everywhere, weapon elemental damage that is. That is a fairly big deal for damage too. So we've got wed there, wed there, wed there, and also crit multi there. As well as here you want wed and crit multi, and otherwise the gear is pretty flexible, pretty loose, do whatever the fuck you want. A rat's nest is also usually recommended because crit's a little low on the build. So the main setup for Tornado or Lightning Arrow, because as I said I use both, goes as follows. Lightning Arrow, wed, GMP, added lightning. And then your 5th link would be increased crit strikes, and it is exactly the same for Tornado and Lightning Arrow, and I genuinely swap between them every 1 or 2 maps. Depending on how I feel and what I think the map would benefit more from which skill. In general, I'm using Tornado Shot basically always for beyond monsters and beyond maps, and a bit more spread out open maps. Whereas Lightning Arrow goes for the thinner, narrower maps where you can just Lightning Arrow once and it's going to obliterate every pack in existence. For Blast Rain, the links are as follows. Blast Rain, Conk Effect, Wed, and then added lightning. Your 5th link I'm still unsold on at the moment, Poison or faster attacks. Ideally I think crit strikes, but that's kind of hard to get a 3rd off color there right now. Poison just feels a little lackluster until you get a 6th link, because when you get a 6th link you can probably add Void Manipulation, and that makes single target DPS a bit better. So ideally it would be something like this, and then Void Manipulation or crit strikes. Yeah, not entirely sold on that. And of course need a diamond flask, get your Atsiri flask, and all of that. Now the character just doesn't feel quite as strong as Voltaxic used to be. It's still very good for mapping, but I may end up having to respec out of this to kind of kill Uber Atsiri a lot safer and faster, and maybe even take on Shaper, because I'm not sure I can do it on this build anymore, but that's another story, and enjoy some of these maps. So this is a tier 10 called Quay, whatever, Q-U-A-Y, Key. And a lot of people have already run this one and know what to expect. It's a stitched horror, I think they're called, boss that every time you kill him gets a bit smaller and comes back something like 4 or 5 times, and then you kill a trio of bosses at the end. And it's pretty damn tanky, you need some good DPS for it, but it's nothing too threatening in the long run. This is Underground River, I think it's now called, and that's where they've moved Mervale, I think, or at least a version of Mervale. And she's pretty stock standard. It's kind of the graveyard version of Mervo. Doesn't have a second phase, and she's not terribly hard in this version. This, I think, was a Ivory Temple, something like that, and it's a tier 12, and the boss at the end is one of the Parandus sort of leaders with a bunch of respawning Parandus mobs. So these guys keep coming back over and over again until you've killed the boss, and they give you flask charges, which is pretty damn nice. This version of the map is enfeebled, monster lifed, and I wasn't that strong at this stage yet, so it did take me quite a while to kill this, and ideally I would have gone with lightning arrow instead of tornado shot for this particular boss fight, which I've since done when coming across it in later stages. Now it seems like the boss is kind of a random guy every time, because I've faced several different ones now. One that's an essence drain guy, one that's I don't know, just shooting fire and all that. They're different. And at the end you also get a chest. This is now the underground. This is the underground river. The other one is underground sea, and the boss is that unique plummeting Ursa. So he just chills there for a while, and he does quite some substantial damage. But once you have good enough deeps, he dies pretty quickly. When he goes up, he drops some of his own little drop bears, and you could see that he left a gore earthquake behind him. So when he goes up, don't go near where he went, because that's what he's going to do, drop a gore earthquake. This is Plateau, double totem boss. I'm enfeebled here. I think they have monster life as well, so they're pretty damn tanky in this version of the map. There's 2 of them. When you kill one, the other one enrages. One is ice or cold based, and the other one is lightning based. I've killed the lightning one before, and the cold one will do all kinds of crazy cold spells, including a massive ice nova, which is pretty hard to avoid. Especially if you're not ranged. So I usually kill the cold one because the lightning one's skills are a bit more avoidable. He has sort of like a couple of little ball lightnings he shoots. Those hit very hard, try and avoid those. The single target balls he shoots, those hit kinda hard, but they're much easier to avoid. And then he's got his massive lightning skill that just goes in a straight line. Just avoid that too. Basically standing back and attacking from a distance, hopefully behind some corners, and picking your time to fight is the best way to fight him. Don't know about melee yet, haven't tried face tanking him. What do we got here? A Vault. So this Vault boss isn't very hard at all. It has a huge proximity shield, so you have to get inside of that and basically kill him. He has a stone, he is a stone golem, and he has a guardian pet, I suppose, or assistant. Doesn't hit very hard. He summons a few of them. I haven't really noticed too much damage from them or special abilities. Just keeps on summoning stuff. He shouldn't be too hard to kill. At least I haven't found him very hard to kill yet. Nor has he really done anything to me. After you kill him though, of course, do not forget to loot your treasure piles. A lot of the treasure in the room becomes lootable, and just run around and try and click all the ones you can. I've dropped a few good tier 10s and 11s from them so far, and even a card or 2, divination card or 2, so they are well worth looting, and something can happen there. We've also got a just tier 12 a Residence Dominus. He feels kind of watered down, but Dominus nonetheless. Lastly, I'll leave you with a Scriptorium Chavron. This had an absolutely insane roll. It's tier 13, and it's a bit of a struggle. Straight after that, you see a much easier Chevron, just for comparison. In any case, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time. I genuinely think I'm getting one shot by any of these. Fuck! I could use some flask resets, yo. No! Flask reset, please! Ah! I think I got out of that. Yeah, I did. Oh, the GMP is not fair, guys. Ah! Fucking kidding me. Thought I'd have a few seconds to attack then. I clearly did not. God, she just fucking kills my mirror arrow instantly. Bitch, please. Don't you do it! She's doing it! Ah! Ah! I just want to live! I don't get to live! Do I get to live? Please let me get to live. Ah! No! Ah! Could use some flask reset. Alright, should be cool. The aesthete. Got him.